Bloomberg News.
With us, a guest host for the next hour, the outspoken and very colorful Jim Rogers of Rogers Holdings. Of course, he's the chairman of the company. Jim, always good to have you with us.
I am delighted to be here.
You know, we saw the markets falling today, but it's been, what, a rally of more than 2 months. It's about time.
Well, the market in the U.S. anyway went up for 9 weeks in a row, and it went up very powerfully for 9 weeks in a row. So, of course, it's time for a correction. That's the way markets work, especially after 9 weeks like that.
I had a guest today who said that fundamentals have changed. Have they? I mean, we have an auto sector in the U.S. that's on the brink of bankruptcy. We also have a banking sector which is yet to be restructured. So why have fundamentals changed, you think?
Well, fundamentals haven't changed, if you ask me. All that's happened, two things have happened. One, in the fall, everybody stopped buying anything. So if you stop buying anything for a while, eventually you have to go down to the shop and buy some more groceries, if nothing else. You know, and people just starting to replenish a little bit, and they're working down some inventories now, or rebuilding the inventories. That's one of the things that happened. The other thing that happened, the central banks around the world have flooded the world with gigantic sums of money. That's having an effect. It's hitting the markets. It's not necessarily good in the long term, but that's what's happened.
So the rally that we have seen, not sustainable as far as you're concerned, obviously. I mean, where does it go from here? I mean, take a look at valuations, for instance. Are they way too high now?
Well, you can ask me that in 2 years. I don't know. I'm not buying shares. You can ask me if I'm buying shares. No, I'm not buying shares anywhere. I'm not selling short yet, but I'm contemplating if it keeps going like this, I'll have to start selling short eventually. But I don't see the stock market as a great place to be in the next 2 or 3 years, maybe even the next decade.
Where should we be? Where are you putting your money?
Well, the only place I know, speaking of the fundamentals for General Motors are not getting better. The fundamentals for Citibank are not getting better. The only place I know where the fundamentals are getting better are raw materials. I mean, farmers cannot get loans for fertilizer, many of them, and we have the lowest inventories of food we've had in decades. You're going to have serious food shortages in the next 3 or 4 or 5 years. Prices are going to go through the roof. Same with metals. Nobody can get a loan to open a mine now, Hacienda. You're not going to see any mines open for 15 years or so. It takes 10 years to open a mine. The reserves of everything are declining. That's the only place I know where the fundamentals are improving. If the world economy is going to get better, commodities are going to lead it. If the world economy is not going to get better, commodities are still the best place to be because supply is declining and governments are printing huge amounts of money.
What's your latest purchase? What have you just bought? What are you thinking of buying?
Agriculture. I bought the Rogers Agricultural Index. I don't buy specific commodities now. My lawyers won't let me. So I buy the Rogers Agricultural Index, and I bought some recently. I may be buying some today if they go down more.
Some say bonds.
No. That's bad for my nervous system, talking about buying bonds. I'm waiting to short bonds.
I had a guest today who said buy bonds.
Well, by all means, it's his money. He can do what he wants to. But I wouldn't buy long-term bonds. I'm waiting.
Short bonds. Would you short bonds? When would you short bonds?
I'm planning to sell bonds short. I don't know when. The problem is that things can do strange things in markets, and Mr. Bernanke said he's going to buy the bonds. And in England, they said they're going to buy the bonds. They can do strange things. I don't know when I'm going to sell it short, but eventually.
There is a question from our guest on agriculture. In terms of agriculture, how do you play it?
Well, the best way normally to play is to be a farmer. Now, farming has been a horrible business for the past 30 years, and I assure you, that's one reason it's about to be such a great business, because I bet nobody you went to school with became a farmer, because farming was such a horrible business. They all went into media or law or stockbroking or something. We're going to have a shortage of farmers soon, and you're going to see great fortunes made in agriculture.
With $20,000, how can you invest it in agriculture?
You can buy an agricultural index. You can buy agricultural stocks.
You've told us most banks are already bankrupt.
Well, the balance sheets, if you look at the balance sheets, many of the major banks in America, not just in America, actually in Europe too, are underwater. There's no question about it. Even the government is now realizing that they're underwater. And, this stress test is ponied up to make it look better than it actually is. No, there's a serious problem in the financial community.
Why not just let those likely to go bankrupt go bankrupt?
Of course, why not let them go bankrupt? That's what's happened for thousands of years. That's the way the system is supposed to work. In the 1930s, one reason it turned into a depression was because the government authorities made good solvent banks take over insolvent banks, and the result was both of them went bankrupt in the end because they just dragged each other down. I'm afraid the same thing can happen again. These people don't know what they're doing.
He's talking about letting them raise capital. What impact could that have on the market?
Well, if it takes more money, if you take money away from solvent and competent people and give it to incompetent people, then obviously other people are going to suffer. You misdirect the assets, you put the capital in the wrong places, and it's not good for the economy, it's not good for the world, it's not good for anybody.
You know what, we're getting lots and lots of questions, and you know, earlier you were talking about commodities and agriculture and so on and so forth. There's a question here saying, investing in commodities is generally not as easy for the average investor as equities. Are there ETFs or other relatively easily tradable vehicles that the average investor can buy through traditionally available means?
Now there are, yes, it's gotten much, much easier. There are ETNs, there are ETFs, you can buy them. They're listed in Singapore, they're listed in America, they're listed in Europe, they're listed just about everywhere, so it's not so complicated anymore.
Okay, when it comes to commodities, there's one that I'd like to highlight, palm oil. It's, what, the second best performer, I think, year to date. Lots more legs to go. What's your take on it?
Well, I'm optimistic about all agricultural commodities, especially. All commodities I'm optimistic about. So, yes, over the next decade, people have just not been adding productive capacity to the commodities world for the last 25 years. I mean, these are simple facts. These are not opinions. These are facts. And when you don't have any capacity, ultimately, prices have to go through the roof, especially when you have all these governments printing so much money. I mean, you see Mr. Bernanke running his printing presses as fast as he can, but so is everybody else.
So it's time to be a farmer. Well, better to be in China while you're at it. But apart from commodities, what else is worth investing in?
Well, if you're good at currencies, you can find the right currency investments. In my view, we're going to have a currency crisis probably this fall or the fall of 2010.
So soon? Why is that?
So soon? I mean, it's been building up for a long time. We had a huge rally in the dollar, an artificial rally in the dollar. So it's time for a currency crisis. We've had them periodically for the past few thousand years. We're about to have another one.
Jim, you were talking about a currency crisis, which you expect to happen pretty soon. I want to take a look at the USD. A question here on the USD. At what price should we sell the rest of our US dollars?
Well, I will probably sell mine sometime in the next few days, weeks, or months. I'm not sure what. It looks like maybe the US dollar